Hi, my name's Beverly and today I am going to show you how to perform the ordinary least squares method using GRETL. The programs that you will need are Microsoft Excel and GRETL. Since I am using a Mac, I am using the Mac version of the Excel program. So the first step is to encode the data into the Microsoft Excel. I have already done that and saved it in my desktop as sample GRETL, and note that I used the .xlsx form of my document. And here, see how I labeled my variables as x1, x2, and y. You will need that later to interpret the data. And I also have to remember that that I started my encoding my data starting from row 1 and column A. And I also have to determine which variables are going to be independent or dependent. So I will just exit that and open the GRETL program. Since I am using a Mac, it will be under my applications folder. There. There. Once I've opened it, I am going to import the data from the Excel sheet, and I'm going to do that by clicking File, then Open Data, and then clicking Import. And see how there's a lot of choices, meaning that you can use other programs where you can encode data, but for this tutorial I'm going to use Excel. And then there's a pop-up window, and then since I saved it on my desktop, I'm clicking the desktop folder, and then I'm going to hit the .xlsx form because that's how my document is saved as. And then I'm gonna click that and hit open. And then remember how I mentioned that I started encoding my data in column A and row 1, and I'm just going to leave it there as column 1 and row 1 and click OK, and then click close to continue. And then I don't want to have my data analyzed in a time series or panel interpretation, so I'm just going to hit no, and then there, we're back to the main window. So in order to run the ordinary least squares method, I'm going to click on model and then the ordinary least squares. See how I mentioned a while ago that we need to know which variables are going to be dependent and independent? Here's where they fit in. My x1 and x2 are going to be my independent variables. So I click on the x1 and then click on the green button, and then click on my x2 and click the green button to be in the independent variables section. And then the y would be, I would click the blue arrow to be in the dependent variable. And then I'm going to hit OK. Then there it is. The analysis for the ordinary least squares. As you can see here, there are stars on the further right hand side. That means that the p-value is very significant the more stars there is. So the constant and the x1 p-values are highly significant. And another thing, to view this data analysis as an equation, you can hit File and then click on View as Equation, and then there it is. So you have y hat is equal to 89.4 plus 0.226 times x1 plus 0.0437 times x2. The numbers in the parentheses are the errors of the variables. So the error for the first variable is 21.8, and then for the second variable with the x1 in it is 0.0883, and then the last one would be 0.226. I could save that as save to file, and I'm going to hit OK, and then I could put sample equation, and then I'm going to save it in my desktop and then hit save and then exit. And then I could also save this analysis by clicking File and Save As, and clicking Plain Text, and then hitting OK, and then I'm going to put sample GRETL as my name, and then I'm going to save it in my desktop too, and then I'm going to hit save. In order to check it, I'm going to my desktop. I'm going to close this and go into my desktop, and then there it is, sample equation. There it is. And then for my sample GRETL, the analysis. So I hope this really helped you learn how to use GRETL and how to perform the ordinary least squares method using GRETL. I hope you could have an easier time doing this. Thank you so much for listening.